This is Mitch, and welcome to the Real Estate Investors Summit podcast, coming at you once again, but this time we're talking to someone in Australia. We're talking to Leonie Fitzgerald, and she is going to be talking to us about money mindsets, money tools, and money-making habits. And it's going to be a gas, because I like talking to people from other parts of the country, because A, we find out that we're not all that different, and B, there's things that you can do that you don't even know you can do yet because you haven't ever left the country. So, but anyways, with no further ado, I've got to give homage to my sponsor, taxfreefuture.com. Please check out the 37 videos there. If you are not investing in a tax-deferred or a tax-free account, then you're losing a big advantage. Please go to taxfreefuture.com because you will not believe what your financial advisors are not telling you, and we're going to tell you what they're not telling you. All right. Got that out of the way, Leonie. You always got to pay the bills, you know. We got to pay the bills.
Indeed.
So are you like all of us who started out dead broke and just finally had enough of that crap and decided you were going to do something about it, and then there was this, aha moment, and then you went off on this long journey and it took a little while and you figured it out? Is that kind of like the long and short of it?
Yeah, there was a bit of that. I bought my first property when I was 18, but then I didn't do much more with it until I was about 30. I bought my next.
So you didn't do more with it. You didn't do more with the concept, or you kept that house that whole time?
No, I kept that house the whole time, and I sold that after about 12 years. And then I bought a flat in London. I'd moved to London, and I bought a flat in London. And then I bought an old 150-year-old house to do a development project on and a complete renovation.
So are you in London now or Australia? I thought you were in Australia.
I'm in Australia now, but I lived in London for 10 years.
Oh, yeah? How was that?
Cold.
Cold?
Very, very cold.
What does that mean? How do you spell cold?
Oh, it was freezing cold. The weather was very grey.
No, we're hot here most of the time. Where I'm from Texas, so we have one season, hot.
Yeah.
So what was the pressure? What was the push? What was the tipping point? What happened?
So the renovation project that I bought, we wanted to develop it and build a second house on the garden, and the neighbours weren't overly happy with that. So the council denied our planning applications on several occasions. So we never got to build the house. And then once we'd finished the renovation of the actual original house, the GFC hit pretty much the weekend we finished.
Hey, GFC, you guys, the global financial crisis. I had to ask what that was.
That's it.
No, I didn't know. So
yeah, and so it hit badly in London, and it hit very quickly. So we pretty much lost all of our profit in about 3 months.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of freedom at the bottom, though, isn't there? I say in my book, My Life in 1,000 Houses, Failing Forward to Financial Freedom. By the way, I happen to have a copy right here. I wrote about, my time in the woods. Of course, that's what everyone relates to, because everybody that I know that's successful spent some time in the woods, dark and cold and wondering what's going to eat you because you don't have much to defend yourself with. And, I discovered, though, that there was a lot of freedom at the bottom. You could reinvent yourself. You could change your mind about everything. You could become whatever you wanted to, because when you're at the bottom, like, nobody really cares. Everybody who was hanging around, they're gone. And so you're free to reinvent yourself, if you have the will and the desire to. So did you decide you were going to reinvent yourself?
Yeah, I did. I moved home when I was 33 back to Brisbane in Australia, and I was a single woman, and had about $85,000 worth of debt on credit cards because of that renovation. And I flew home Christmas Eve 2008. So that was pretty much in the middle of the GFC, and nobody was hiring. So couldn't find any work for about 3 months, and I was living with my auntie. I was living on a single bed mattress on the floor under a Winnie the Pooh doona, and feeling quite sorry for myself and living on credit cards. And I just decided to draw a line in the sand and just thought, this is as bad as my life's ever going to get. And I went out and got some life coaching, free life coaching from a gentleman that was starting his own business and wanted some testimonials from people that he was practicing on. So I put my hand up and volunteered, and I had 3 sessions with him and decided on a career change. And that's how I got into property. Before that, I was working in financial services. So yeah, got a job in property back up in Brisbane, and that's where it all really started. That was about 10.5 years ago.
Okay, so you're offering a free ebook called Master Your Money Mindset, and it's got discussions about mindset shifts, money making tools or money tools, and money making habits. Where do you want to start? I like the part about well, let's do the mindset shift, and talk to us about that. The mindset shift. What kind of shift is that?
Yeah, look, you can have a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. With a growth mindset, you're open to learning and you believe that there are better ways to do things. So I just had to get myself into a better mindset. I was feeling quite sorry for myself, and I was wondering why all that was happening to me. And I just had to give myself a bit of a kick up the arse, if you like, and get on with it.
Yeah,
you can only feel sorry for yourself for so long.
One of the things I learned early, not even in my real estate career, but early in life, was whatever it is you're afraid of, you need to just go right to it. You need to get right to it. Go right to it, dive into it, get as much information about it. Face it up every morning when you wake up, face up with it. And your dragons start to shrink. You know what I mean? You think they're really big dragons, but when you get up close to them and start figuring out what the issue really is, I mean, there's ways usually to fix everything.
Yeah. Funny you mentioned fear. I've got a post-it note on my desk that says, fear means go.
Fear means go. What is it? Oh, fear. Fear is conquered by action. That's what I wrote in my book. Fear is conquered by action. So it must be some kind of universal law, right? Because it kind of works the same for everybody everywhere. Money-making habits. When I read your bio, I thought I saw something pretty interesting. It said, I thought was interesting. It said, you gave up coffee for coaching. So I thought that meant like, you were spending $7 a day on Starbucks coffee like they do around here. And they decided to take that, $300, that $900, that $2,100 a month or whatever it is,
Yeah.
See, you don't even have to know math very good to be.
That's a lot of coffee.
No, $210 a month in coffee to go try to do something different and change your life. I know $210 doesn't seem like a lot of money, but if it'll get you a couple of sessions or buy you, 10 or 12 books and you can immerse yourself in something, you can probably come up with some ideas. But what did you mean when you said you gave up coffee for coaching?
Yeah, so the life coach that I worked with wanted a coffee. That's what he was charging for a session because he wanted a testimonial. So I could afford to buy a coffee on my credit card. So he would give me an hour's worth of coaching. But the coffee thing, giving up coffee, that's a good point because I read a book many years ago called The Cafe Latte Effect, I think the title was. I can't remember the author, but it was all about giving up a coffee a day. So here in Australia, to buy a decent coffee, it's $5 or $6, which is probably equivalent to $4 in America. So if you saved your $4 every day, that's $20 a week. And if you put that into something and save that money, it can actually get you ahead financially. So that was a bit of a formula that I learned many years ago.
Yeah, I interviewed this guy one time named Jordan Goodman. I was looking him up on my phone. And he has all these money hacks, and he's a really interesting guy. And he's got his own podcast. Actually, he's got a radio show. And he had so many hacks to pick up some extra money. It was unbelievable. And when you looked at him, you go, hey, I got that. I can do that. I could give up coffee. I could give up cable TV or half of my channels, or you know what I mean? And so what kind of habits do you suggest off the bat people pick up? I mean, is there anything that's obvious, or is it different for everybody?
Yeah, I mean, the cable one's a good one. We have Netflix here in Australia, which is about $10 a month for Netflix. I don't know how much cable is in America, but I'm sure it's quite a lot more expensive than a Netflix membership.
Yeah, we have Netflix here. And they have like 1 million movies, and none of them are any good.
Yes,
Every
true
now
that.
and then you find a good one. You know what I mean?
That's
Of course. Now I'm 58 years old. I have seen all the movies. They can't write another movie with a different plot, so they're all the same movie with just a different costume on.
yeah,
At 58, you watch TV for what, 48 years, whatever.
yes.
I mean, there is no new movie. So
Yeah. Look, the other thing I always suggest to my clients is your insurances, life insurance, income protection, house insurance, car insurance. Ring around at least once a year and do comparisons. That can save you quite a bit of money. The other thing I do also is bank fees. I don't pay any bank fees with any of my banks. And I also call regularly to get reduced interest rates. And they give them to you as long as you ask.
they don't give them to you if you don't ask, do they?
No, and that's the challenge. Most people don't ask, unfortunately. But as long as you are speaking to the right person at the bank that can actually authorize the interest reduction, I usually get a bit of a rate reduction every time I call.
Another way to do that is just call other credit card companies and see if they'll offer you an incentive to move your balance over to their card. And a
Yeah,
lot of people get zero, or 1% or a 0.5%, or also reshopping your car loan.
yep,
These are all great ways to figure out how to afford a coach or a course or a 3-day event or something. Also, gas apps that'll tell you where the cheapest gas is in town. We have gas apps around here, and it'll tell you exactly where the cheapest gas. And sometimes it's 50 cents cheaper a gallon. You know what I mean? So it can
yeah,
add up pretty fast in a month, especially if you're a guy that's driving a lot. So
yeah.
um, I always get that app, and then I just go fill up wherever, because that's I've gotten lazy and I've gotten privileged. So
The other thing also that I find a lot of my property investor clients don't do is increase their rents on a regular basis. So sometimes as a landlord, we feel like we can't increase rents, or we really love our clients and we want to do right by them, so we don't put our rents up, and that can be detrimental for you as a landlord. So that's another thing that I usually recommend that clients look at least every 12 to 18 months.
yeah, and so what about anything else? This is interesting because I didn't really see that coming. You're actually addressing people that have some girth, some kind of property or wealth somewhere locked up. They're just maybe not making it monthly, because you can make all the money in the world. If you don't make more than you're spending or than you owe, then you could have issues.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing that I suggest people do is on payday is to transfer a certain amount of money from their pay directly into a savings account. So ideally 10% if you can. And if you have that automatic direct debit set up on payday, then you just don't miss it. You get used to living on less. And when I first came home from London, I had $85,000 in debt, which I had to pay off, and it took me about 2.5, nearly 3 years. And every week I would just transfer a certain amount of money into a spending account, and that's all I had. So if I'd spent all that by Wednesday, then I wasn't doing much on the weekend. But I learnt to live on less because I just created that habit. So that's a really powerful way of reducing your expenses.
My niece just graduated from college. She got her master's degree and she got a nice job. And the first thing I said was, let's set up a IRA and let's put 10% in. And
Yeah.
you don't know, you've never made any money before. So whether you make 100% or 90%, your body's not going to know the difference. It's just going to learn to live on whatever you give it. So
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. Also, there's this thing called Acorns, I guess, and you can set your credit cards up in this Acorn account, and anytime there's any when you buy something for $9.10, it just rounds it up to $10, and it puts the other 90 cents in your
Yes.
IRA. So that's
Yeah.
kind of how you used to go save your change in the jar over there. You know what I mean? But the
Yeah.
jar wasn't making any interest or wasn't invested anywhere. So
No, and that's like forced savings, really. You don't really notice it
you don't
because it
notice it at all.
automatically comes out. So, most people spend 110%. They spend more than what they earn, and that's their first mistake. And then secondly, people don't have any understanding of what their outgoings are, so their bills, because they're not working with a budget. I like to call a budget a spending planner. So at the beginning of the year, I sit down and I work out, well, what is my lifestyle going to cost me for the year? How much do I want to put towards travel? what do I need to pay for fuel? What do I need to pay for electricity? You know, what are my living expenses going to be? And then I work out what that's going to cost, and then I know how much income I need to make for that year. So I work with a lot of business owners as well, and there's a huge opportunity to decrease your expenses as a business owner, because often you never sit down and look at what's going out. You know, you could give up the bowl of fruit that you're buying for the staff every week and save $40. You could, you know, reassess your stationery orders and maybe get discounted stationery with another supplier. There's so many things you can do as a business owner to cut costs. Yet most people
give your employees an incentive. You know, I'm buying lunch to anyone who can save me money today. Go through everything, you know, what can we save on? You know, some guy saves you, you know, $25 a week, and all you got to do is buy him a $10 enchilada plate, you know? So
yeah.
That's a good idea. So this is running through my head for all the listeners out there. You know, it takes a little money to hire a coach, but I bet you if you go to reinvestorsummit.com/money mindset and you get your free consult with Leonie here, I bet you she can figure out where you've got money or opportunity laying around to pay for this coaching. I bet you she can figure it out just inside your own budget, or get you very close to getting this for free by just making a few changes, or even just going back and reviewing where the heck you're at. We have to review around this household. This should probably be done more often, but once every 6 months, we have a spreadsheet of all the things we've elected to have doing our credit cards. You know, you want to sign up for this app. You want to sign up for that app. You want to sign up for this subscription. And then a year goes by and they send you a renewal and you think to yourself, I haven't used that thing since a month after I signed up for it, and they've been charging me every month. You know what I mean? Or something. So you got to go back. Like, I think it should probably be every quarter now, because it seems like I go out and sign up for things I think I'm going to use, and then I just never use them, or I don't participate, or whatever the deal is I'm signing up for. My wife.
Great example of that, Mitch, is the gym membership. How many of us have had a gym membership and we've never gone to the gym?
Right. Yeah, don't even talk to me about that.
You know, I think
I worked out once. 1976, I think it was. So, and that in gym equipment, you probably have some gym equipment laying around your house that you haven't walked on or lifted for God knows how many decades. Why don't you sell that and go get your coaching over here and learn how to change a few things and become a millionaire, you know, eventually, whatever. But the good old yard sale, you got to have that one on your list. Just have a damn yard sale. You'll pay for your coaching.
Yeah, well, that's it. You know, eBay, you can sell stuff on eBay. I'm sure you have all different kinds of websites over there, but we've got a couple of websites here where you can actually list stuff for free, so you don't even pay a fee to sell something. My sister sold a whole bunch of stuff last week and made $450 in an afternoon.
Yeah. And you weren't using that stuff anyways. They were just clutter, right? It was just clutter. It was keeping you from being able to get to the washer and dryer, you know, real easy.
Exactly. I keep thinking about selling my wedding dress.
Really?
Well, I'm never going to wear it again, so it's just clogging up room in my wardrobe.
Yeah, think about you'll give someone else a beautiful day.
That's it. I've only worn it once.
Yeah. Hey. Never mind. I had a thought, but I think I'm going to pass. So, you know, this seems petty, or it might seem petty to some people out there, and some people may not need this, but there's a bunch of people in this country I know that need to start paying attention. And it's so easy to not begin as soon as possible, because the sooner you start, the sooner things get better, or things get big. But you know, you're in your 20s and you wake up and you're 35 or 36. There's 15 years gone by, you know, that you didn't do anything, put anything away. You could have had a hell of a nest egg, you know what I mean? Or you could have had a really good start on when you finally wake up and go, wow, at the rate I'm going, I'm not going to be able to retire. You could have something to start with. And believe me, like I said, I'm 58 right now. I wake up every morning and go, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
You know, what happened? So some of those little things I bought that I left laying around, like a piece of land over here on the corner and a piece of land over there in the corner, while it's very devastating sometimes to see how fast time passes, it's also in your favor with certain things. Time is good, in wine and in money and in land sitting around on, next to paved roads. So you look up and some of this stuff. So do you talk a lot about IRAs or 401ks or anything like that?
It's a little bit different over here in Australia. But, I talk to a lot of my clients with property. A great example, I've got clients that I've been working with for about 6 years, and they were due to buy their third investment property about 18 months ago, but they had some changes with their jobs, so the bank wouldn't lend them any money. And by delaying that third purchase 18 months, it impacted their end result by $20,000 per year in retirement. So a massive impact by delaying for just 18 months. Most people wouldn't think too much about that, but with property, and this, Mitch, it's all about time. The longer you hold it, the more money you make. So the sooner you can acquire your assets, the better result you'll have in retirement. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't plan, and they get to 50. I get a lot of 50 to 55-year-olds come to me, all panicked because they want to retire in 10 or 15 years and they haven't done anything about it except work on paying down their home loan. And that's great to be, debt-free on your home when you retire, but you've got no assets paying you an income to live on. So you end up on the pension. And over here, it's, $300 or $400 a week, which is not a great amount of money.
We're most of the time not meant to live on, they were meant to supplement, I guess maybe I'm talking about Social Security over here in the United States. I don't know where people got the idea, well, it's not enough to live on. Well, it was never supposed to be lived on. It was supposed to supplement you when you start having to pay for prescription drugs or some health. It wasn't supposed to be to live on. You were supposed to take care of that yourself, you dumbass.
Exactly.
What the hell? You just gave your whole future to the government? Yeah, they're going to really take care of you. Good.
Yeah.
So rent increases. I have 1,600 storage doors. I have self-storage is my forever play because, there's flips, that's one-time cash. There's owner finance deals, that's temporary cash because, you sell a house on payments for 30 years, but the payments are going to expire. So you have to go into a forever cash. You have to have a forever cash play or module in your investing. And so mine was, do y'all have self-storage, mini storages?
We do.
People in America have so much junk that they can't keep it all at their house that they have to rent 10 by 10 squares with roll-up doors so they can keep some more junk that they're never going to use.
Crazy.
And my favorite words of all time are, I'm just going to be here for 3 months, 10 years later, they're still sending me $60 a month. Anyways, I go around, and that's one of the things we learned early on is we just increase the rents $3 at a time, but we keep going in the 1,600 unit circle. And every time you complete the circle, it has increased your income $4,800 a month, which is, almost $60,000 a year.
Yeah.
Like a whole nother income every time you make it all the way through that circle. And then you just start over again because by the time you get there, you just start over again. So there's just a little secret for the storage owners out there. I always like to raise the bulk of those rents though when it's 105 degrees because no one's going to get in a truck and move that crap when it's 105. Okay. So we increase like 75% of the people in the hottest 3 months of the year.
Yeah. That's a great idea.
Yeah. I don't know where you're from or where the devastating part of the climate, is, but like up north, you should increase the rents when it's freezing cold because no one wants to move when it's below zero,
Yeah. Well, here, everybody moves. They want to get into their new rental property in January before school starts. So January is the busiest time to rent a property here in Australia.
Yeah, I was just talking about the rent increase, though. Increase their rent in the winter if you can. I don't know how that works, but so money tools. Have we covered that? Money tools. What's these are like three of the big topics in the ebook you can get for free at it's called Master Your Money Mindset. You go to REInvestorSummit.com/money mindset. And you can not only get the free ebook, Master Your Money Mindset, but you can also figure out how to get a free consultation here and discuss your personal goals and your personal life and your financial life and see what you think can happen. I think it's a great opportunity, especially if you're doing nothing or been doing nothing. Please do something, because you're going to regret it. You're going to wake up 2 decades from now and go, what the hell did I do? Why don't I have anything? And it's really not that hard to get on the right path. I have an idea. Like, some of you may have a spouse out there that might be a little gregarious in the spending department. Why don't you maybe get them this coaching or counseling for as a gift, and maybe they'll shift that energy to a different thing, because usually spending is just it's an energy burst. If you can find something else to substitute that energy burst with, that's more complementary to your life, maybe you can get someone to switch a track. You know what I mean? They get in it. They may not even have any idea that all these. I would look at this as like a game. It's just like, people play video games, Leonie.
Yes.
So I said, I play video games. This is kind of my video games. I say, how much money can I make this computer generate? And business, but it's a game still, and we all keep score of the game, and you can tell if you're winning or not if your bank account goes up or down. So I just choose different kinds of games, and I take the challenge of those, and I do look at it as a game,
Yeah. Money is a game. You just need to know how to play it.
Yeah, there's a certain set of rules, and when you break the rules, you get less money, and when you do really good and adhere to the rules, you get more money, and and you have to figure out the rules, pretty much like those video games make you do. You got to trial and error. Okay, there's the window. That's what you do to get over that wall. Okay. So
it's the same as, if you want your teeth when you're 75 years old, there's rules of the game to have your teeth at 75. You've probably got to brush twice a day and floss once a week, right? You've got to follow the rules to keep your teeth. Same with wealth. You've got to follow the rules. And ideally, you want to save 10%. You want to invest it in something that's going to grow your money. When you have a certain amount, you whack that into an asset that's going to grow your money safely, that you can get back out when you need it. I believe you should also insure your money in case anything unforeseen happens down the track. I hear many horror stories about people that don't insure their assets and then get into strife. So there's rules to the game of money. You just need to understand what they are and follow them.
Do you have a list of rules?
Yeah, I do. Have you read the book, The Richest Man of Babylon?
I have. Ogmandino, is that it?
Yeah. Yep.
Is that it? Did I get that right?
You did. Yep. So it's a bit of a parable, and there's 7 things in there that they talk about, and saving 10% is number 1. So if you read that book and follow the rules, then you can only have success.
It's all kind of biblical, isn't it? I mean, it's been written 2,000 years ago. It's not, there's been no new rules since that book was written, and they're pretty much in there.
It's not rocket science.
Yeah, you're saying it wrong. It's not rocket surgery. It's not rocket surgery.
Not rocket surgery.
It's a combination of, it's not brain surgery and rocket science. It's how a dumb guy gets it mixed up.
Yeah, right. Okay. I like it.
It's not rocket surgery, dang it. So I don't know. What else would you say to someone out there who's struggling with finances? Maybe we'll wrap it up. What's a parting word you would say to someone out there that's struggling?
Yeah, look, I think being clear on what your goals are, what you're working towards, if you have a look at where you are right now financially and where you would ideally like to be, what does life look like? And then you just reverse engineer. So what do I need to do to get to that point? What steps do I need to take? And that's what I do with my clients. And it's funny you mentioned about you might have a spouse that might not be on the same page. I hear it all the time. Often I hear that women are looking after all the finances for the household and hubby goes out to work, and that's generalizing. But I do get a lot of complaints from the ladies that they're having to pay all the bills, look after all the filing, all the bookkeeping at home. So when I work with couples, I work with them together to show them, you both need to take responsibility. You both need to know what your passcodes are to get into your online bank accounts in case, God forbid, one of you dies. you both kind of need to be on the same page. And that is the same for goal setting. If often when I sit down with husband and wife and I ask them about what they want to do when they retire, the hubby says, I want to drive around Australia with the caravan and go caravanning for 12 months. It's very common here. I think you guys do it in RVs over there. And often the wife has got her mind set on doing 5-star around Europe. So 2 very different goals. So firstly, you need to get on the same page.
So first you get divorced, get rid of that person. And then, I'm just kidding. So we'll budget for the divorce, we'll get rid of that person, and we're going to go travel around the world and heck with what she wants to do.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
You got to sit down together if you're in a relationship with your partner and work out what it is that you want in life, and then get a bit of a plan in place to actually head in that direction, not just bury your head in the sand and hope for the best like the majority of people do. Unfortunately, in this country, 95% of people retire on the pension, and at the moment we've got two generations on the pension. We've got my grandparents and then their parents.
Not going to work. Something's got to break.
Yeah.
So I was really lucky. My wife thinks jewelry's a waste of money, thinks flowers are a gimmick made up by Hallmark, and Hallmark's a gimmick made up by people that print paper. And she's I don't know. I've been the luckiest guy in the world because she can smell 2 cents out of place from a million miles. And I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of dollars she's probably saved me by checking up on credit card charges and, going back and telling people we canceled this, 6 months ago. Why are you still charging? And also, she's very tough on the people that come to collect money. They need to prove, they have to have the paperwork right, and they have to have it, and she reviews all the statements, and it's really helped me a lot. She's affectionately known as the money bitch. She actually has the moniker on her desk, the money bitch. And if you want some money, you need to go talk to her. And believe me, you better have your collective crap together, because she's going to hammer you if you don't have your stuff right. And it's been a blessing for me because I'm like Thigpen, I just go through town and with all this dust and I swirl everything and I start making things happen and I throwing stuff up on the wall to see if it sticks. And then I don't pay any attention after that. Someone has to come and clean up and organize behind me because I'm too busy making the next mess. You know what I mean? That's where I go and do. And once I'm finished creating that big mess, I usually just walk right out the back door and don't even look back. And someone needs to go take care of that and manage it and collect it and service it and whatever the heck has to happen with it, because I just created it. I'm a real good creator. I'm not a good maintainer. You know what I mean? I don't do the maintenance.
Yeah.
So and if I didn't have a wife like that, I guess I'd have to hire that person. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's quite common, you are different ends of the scale when it comes to personality. So, they say opposites attract, right? And I think they do, because
that's not even an understatement with us. I mean, she's from Ohio, I'm from Texas. Don't ask me how that happened. It just did. And then I drug her into entrepreneurialism by the back of her hair, like a caveman, and dragging his wife into the cave. And she was kicking and screaming the whole way, wanted to know when I was going to get a job, would call me screaming at me, when are you going to get a job? You've been at lunch for 3 hours. I said, you don't understand what I do. The guy I'm at lunch was a billionaire. We're trying to get something settled here. I'm not a billionaire, so I need this guy. So we're having a long lunch.
And you probably couldn't work in a job anyway.
I tried. I made talk about mindset. I drew a line in the sand one day when I was as low as I was going to get. And I said, this was the rules. I'm never going to be worth less tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm going to be worth more tomorrow, even if it's $1. It has to be $1, but I'm always going to be worth at least $1 more than I was yesterday, at least. And I'm never going to have a job again. So Mitch, figure it out. Because when you have a job, you got ceilings.
Yeah,
you got people are telling you how fast you can grow, 90% of the time or 99% of the time. They're telling me when I can go on vacation, when I can't, when I can rest, when I can't, when I can go see my kids, when I can't. what I got to wear, when I got to get up, and I'd had enough of that crap. That's one thing I look for in my students. I'm trying to find people I've had enough meters pegged way over in the red, because they become teachable when they've had enough of that crap, So my thought process was, a POW once told me, I asked him how he survived being imprisoned in Castro's hotel for 24 months, getting the hell out of him, damn near starved to death every day. I said, how'd you survive that? He said, this is the most magnificent thing ever created. You give it just enough food and just enough water, and if this doesn't go right here, if you can keep your sanity and keep your mind, he said, this body, the most impressive thing ever known to man, ever invented, will figure every single thing out. And that haunted me for a couple of weeks. And so I was at this point in my life, I think I was about 28. And I had a lot of jobs, but I didn't have a college degree. So no one really wanted to pay me very much. Like $15, $20 an hour was the most I could make. Even that was really good for me. $20 an hour was really good for me at the time. But I knew that it wasn't good. And so I just said, you know what? If I can't go out and make $15, $20 an hour by myself out in this United States of America, one of the greatest infrastructures in the world, then just shoot me. And I took having a job off the table, and I forced myself to figure out how to make, first day, I think I made $20 for the whole day. And it wasn't a very good day. And the next day I didn't do much better. But then I slowly figured out over the next 15, 20 days how to make, $8 an hour, $10 an hour, $15 an hour. And the cool thing was, every time I invented an increase in my salary or my pay, I was 100% beneficiary of it.
Yeah.
And then I learned how to make $25 an hour and $40 an hour and $50 and $100 an hour and $250 an hour and $500 an hour. And every time I increased or came up with the idea, like, hey, this is how you multiply that, I was 100% beneficiary. And one day I was worth about, I don't know, $800 an hour. And my wife, some of this stuff doesn't go over really good, Leonie. My wife said, can you go out to pick up the dry cleaners on your way? And I said, honey, I'm worth $800 an hour. Can we find someone else to pick up the dry cleaning? Needless to say, I was on the sofa for a couple of days there, sleeping by myself. But guess what? I didn't go pick up the dry cleaning.
No, not for $800.
Because it's like mindset, right? You can't work below your pay grade. Comes a point when you don't mow your own yard. You know what I mean? It's not because you're arrogant. It's just it doesn't make economic sense. Now, unless you really like mowing your yard and somehow that's cathartic or therapeutic for you, I get it because there's people that like to do that. That's not me, but
no.
You've been a pleasure to talk to.
Well, thank you for having me.
I think I hope people go over there to Master Your Money, get your free ebook, Master Your Money Mindset, over at reinvestorsummit.com/money mindset. And also get a consultation with Leonie Fitzgerald. What could it hurt? What could it hurt? She's offering you a free chance to sit down. Maybe you lay some of your cards on the table and let her show you how you might just shift your thought process a little bit and make a huge difference in your financial future. Longer you plan it out, the bigger it's going to be. And the sooner you start, the sooner it starts happening, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So tell me about one of your success stories real quick, and then we'll wrap it up.
So I had a client come to me last year. She was based in Sydney, which is about an hour and a half from Brisbane on a flight. And her husband had signed 3 property contracts in a period of 12 months and hadn't proceeded with any of them because they were just very scared, quite nervous, and didn't really have any education. And the people that they were working with wasn't giving them any education, just getting them to sign a contract. And then he read an article. I'd written an article for one of our nationwide newspapers here, and he'd read it and said, you should connect with Leonie and get some coaching and work on your mindset. So we started to work together, and on our 3rd coaching call, she said that she wanted to buy an investment property. So they both flocked to Brisbane. I took them around for the day, introduced them to some builders, and found them a magical property, and they proceeded with that purchase. They actually went through with it. And they were really excited to do that because for 12 months they'd been trying to buy a property. But it was because of the mindset stuff that I'd been doing with her that she felt like she was comfortable to actually move forward with the process. Because like you were saying earlier, fear just gets in the way of so many people taking action. And the biggest mistake I have found with people is that they just don't do anything. And when you don't do anything, nothing
what
happens.
can you expect? What can you expect?
Changes.
Yeah.
But
So
unfortunately, it's easy to
don't
do
ever
nothing.
underestimate paying someone to be in your corner to focus on exactly your issues. Don't ever underestimate that. Someone that not only you got a second set of eyes, but it also gives you a little bit of confidence when you can concur with someone that you can admire or who's in a place where you want to go or has done what you want to do. When they concur with what you're doing, that takes a lot of hesitation out of the decision-making process, or even keeps you from being stifled. Because in my business, I coach people on how to buy and flip houses. And a lot of times, they got a perfectly good deal and they're not jumping. I call them and go, what the hell? Have you got the contract yet? Run to that place and get the contract signed. What are you doing? Well, no, this is a good deal. Run.
Yeah.
And they do, but they don't trust their own decision-making process because they haven't ever made those kind of decisions and been successful before. They may have never even made those decisions at all before, so they don't know if they would be successful if they made those decisions or not. And so they're second-guessing themselves. And that's part of what a good coach does is, we're part cheerleader, part psychologist, and part someone you got to answer to if you don't do what you said you're going to do. I hold people responsible, right? To say, well,
That's it. Yeah, accountability. Yeah, most people know
yourself.
Yeah, most people know what they need to do. They just don't do it because there's nobody to push them along and keep them accountable. So, most of my clients that I coach know what they need to do. They just want me on the end of the phone every fortnight, kicking them in the ass to get them to move forward. They know when we've got a call, they have to have done those steps. Otherwise, they're going to get a bit of a beating,
Yeah.
Otherwise, they don't move forward. So, sometimes I have to push people a little bit. But, a lot of people don't do things because they're afraid of failing. That big fear of failing. Nobody wants to fail. We don't want that. We don't want that feeling. So it's easier to do nothing than it is to do something.
Well, it's been a real pleasure talking to you, Leonie. I want to thank all the people out there listening. Thanks for stopping by to get you some Leonie Fitzgerald. She has a wealth and success coaching program if you're interested, but she's going to help you learn how to create a budget and how to live by a budget and how to find the money to afford the things you want to afford out in the future. Go to reinvestorsummit.com/mindset. This is Mitch Stephen. I'd like to thank our sponsor today, taxfreefuture.com. Please watch the 37 videos. You will not believe what your financial advisors are not telling you. We're going to tell you. All right. This is Mitch Stephen with the Real Estate Investor Summit podcast. Bye, Leonie. Thanks for being on.
Thanks, Mitch. Thank you.